Welcome to the episode of Love and Reality Podcast. I am your host, Ricky Valero. On today's episode, we're going to be breaking down the final two episodes of The Mole Season 2. Who is the mole? Who is taking home the prize? And we get to find out so much more as we lead into the finale because episode 9 left us with or episode 8 left us with a cliffhanger of figuring out if Hannah was going to add to the pot or was Hannah going to take the money. We don't know yet, but we're going to dive in. But before we do, folks, this season of The Mole has been fantastic. Thank you guys for the continued support, watching the episodes, commenting on the episodes. It has driven this content across all my socials, including YouTube, and I can't thank you guys enough for being here each and every week as we dove into The Mole. Hopefully, in the near future, I'll be able to sit down and talk with a few members of The Mole to talk about what went down. All right, we are here. Many questions need to be answered. We are down to the final two episodes of the second season of The Mole. The Mole, we get to find out who the mole is, who won, and of course, before that all dives in, we need to find out what Hannah did. Ryan, Sean, Michael, Deanna, and Muna are our final six alongside Hannah, and they're all at the table discussing whether or not Hannah made a decision or not to be selfish. Hannah breaks down there were 5 baskets. She informs them of the game, but Hannah reveals that there was more. She opened the basket, it was $20,000. She teases them at first, but announces that she took the money. Of course, everybody was excited. Now the pot is up to $105,000. She also lets them know that that was the last exemption on the table. This was definitely interesting because imagine you don't take the exemption and then you go home. Like that would be tough, right? That would have been very tough. We're having a double elimination. Obviously, we're going to go to our final 4. Sean is up first. He is safe. So we're down to our final 5. Muno is up next. I was terrified. How they played this out scared me because I was like, 1000% Muna's gone home, but she was safe. Ryan, Michael, Hannah, and Deanna are our final 4. 2 will be going home. Ryan is gone. Every single person. Last week when I said I didn't think Ryan was the mold, everybody said I was insane. Because they're like, no, it's got to be Ryan. 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 I was like, no, it's not Ryan. But I digress. I was right. Thank you very much. Ryan is gone. Every single person at the table is like, I think it's Ryan. They were all like shocked to see that Ryan's going home. Michael, Hannah, Deanna, who's going home? Michael's up. He is safe. Deanna's next, and she is going home. Ryan, Deanna, sayonara. See you later. Adios. Hannah, Muna, Michael, and Sean are our final 4. We are heading to Georgetown. We're the final 4, eating some food. It's nighttime. We are on our final mission. They have to get some valuable artifacts inside this mission. There are 2 real pieces. Amongst all of them, they can potentially add $60,000 to the pot. However, they must break into this exhibit and steal them without setting off the alarm. If they drop an artifact, they will lose $2,000 per piece. If they trigger the system 3 times, the competition will be over. All right, Michael wants to be the person dangling, which was by far the dumbest decision I think I've ever seen in my entire life. Okay? Dumbest decision I've ever seen in my entire life. But that being said, Sean and Muna were very excited to put him in that position, but Hannah was not. Very early in the process, Michael drops an artifact costing them $2,000, already also setting off the alarm. And then, on top of that, okay, they are going to finally find one of the artifacts, but they're not 100% sure if it was right. However, they eventually sound the alarm yet again, which blew my mind. You know what I mean? Because I really feel like you having the heaviest person dangling. This was just insane to watch, right? It was very mole-like, whether you look at Sean, whether you look at Michael, one of those 2 was gun-ho about this decision. Now they did get 1 right artifact, which they added $30,000, but they knocked down 3 pieces, meaning $6K was deducted. We're down to the final elimination where Muna was revealed to be safe. Hannah was gone. One of the best players that we've seen. It was sad to see her go. I was floored. absolutely floored when Hannah got eliminated. I thought for sure she was going to win this entire thing. Like, I really did. And I think obviously she leaned heavily into Michael being the mole, and that's what ended up costing her her time. And just wow. You know what I mean? Like, I was just really blown away. There's 50K on the line in the final mission. They've got 30 minutes to complete the mission. Sean messes up, costing them money already. Michael messes up the next one. Both very Mo-like. And then, of course, Muna completes her mission, adding to the $20,000. Now, this was very interesting for me because I was like, is it possible that Muna is actually the mole? Michael doesn't think so, but it was very obvious in the battle of Michael and Sean. Maybe it was too obvious for me. I thought maybe that she was, as Michael and Sean kind of battled it out here. I thought for sure, to me, it was very much a, oh, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, it for sure is Muna here. Everyone gives a pity party about why they wanted the money. The crew has returned to the finale to figure out who the mole is. Everybody starts to slowly trickle in. We see Ryan and Deanna move in where they're like, oh my God, the final four is Hannah, Michael, Sean, and Muna. Is Hannah in the final three? No, Hannah arrives. And of course, she plants a big one on Tony there, like a little big one. Do we have an update on these two? Are they still together? I don't think they are, though. We get a montage here of what we're talking about, who is our winner. However, before we find out who the winner is, we find out who the mole is. Ari announces that he wants the mole to reveal themselves by taking a step forward, and it was Sean. Sean was, in fact, the mole this entire time. Everyone freaks out. He played a really good game. I will say this. There was a few times I suspected him early on in the show. I kind of wrote, he was definitely in my top three of who I thought the mole was over and over again, but played a hell of a game. Very, very good game. Down to Muna and Michael. To be honest with you, I was a big fan of both of these. I was a big fan of both of these people. And really thought that it was crazy though. Do you remember that one mission? It was Michael, Muna, and Sean. Those were the three people that were on the truck who everybody thought the mole was, and that's ended up who being our final three here. Michael, Muna, who won the mole? Only two questions separate them from winning, and Michael ends up winning season 2 of The Mole. Congratulations to Michael on a well-played game. This was definitely one of the craziest, just it was great. I do think Michael figured out really early on it was Sean, and that really, when he watched his movie, that was it. That's what he wrote to the finale. He wrote that from the finale. Much props to Michael for playing a great game because that really opened the door, and that's the reason he won and took home $150,000. We do get a highlight reel of Sean sabotaging them. And it's funny because you watch the videos of him going back and forth and of them going back and forth on this, because you could see where he did things, and like the team ended up doing like the raft thing. He tried to screw up the raft competition over and over again, but somehow they still made it, and he was pissed about it. But it was a very funny montage. We get like a brief small reunion. I wish we would get maybe something a little bit bigger. All the cast has been out in certain places, so maybe that we are going to eventually get a bigger reunion or something like that, because it was definitely weird to see how we have all of them together and it was like 5 minutes long. You know what I mean? Like, it should have been a little bit longer. Hopefully we get some more content from them in the near future where they can talk about gameplay, strategy, and all that stuff like that. But that is it for this week's episode of the Love and Reality podcast, where we broke down The Mole. The season is over. I'm sad to see it go. Hopefully there's not like a 2-year gap like there was last time. What did you guys think of the finale? Let me know in the comments below. We're going to start covering some new shows over the next couple weeks. We got Too Hot to Handle returning. We got Big Brother returning that I'm going to dive in. The Bachelorette is here. I'm going to be covering those 3 shows, and who else knows what pops up between now and then. Thank you guys for the continued support and listening. Talk to you guys soon.